What I'm going to share with you is so freaking powerful, it is going to absolutely transform your life. Because with this information, you're going to be able to live in alignment, embodying your higher self. And I know that if you found this video, you are ready for this. You are ready to fully put both feet on the path of your higher self because you've had one foot in and one foot out for a very long time. And today you're going to understand exactly why it is that you haven't fully moved into your higher self at this point and how you can do it. So let's get into it. You don't want to miss this. First of all, I want you to understand that your higher self is completely effortless because your higher self is living in truth and seeing the truth of your situation. Your higher self is when you're embodying both the form and the formless here in this reality that you're in. And to understand this, we need to talk about safety, because this is going to be the absolute groundbreaking realization that you need to have to move into your power at this moment. When you are feeling safe, that means that you are in acceptance. You're accepting the present moment, you're accepting your being, you're accepting yourself. And when you are in full acceptance over who it is that you are, it leads to excitement. It leads to joy, abundance. Because joy, abundance, and excitement is your effortless natural state when you are in acceptance and embodying your higher self. But it must come from first feeling safe to embody your higher self. Safety is everything for your being. And there's two ways in which you can find yourself either feeling truly safe or having a perception that you're safe. And this is when we talk about ego versus presence. You can try and find safety through the ego, and the ego finds safety through avoiding being the full you, avoiding truly feeling into who it is that you are. And it is doing it by not accepting the true you, by not embodying the true you. And when that is not happening, you are not connected to your excitement, joy, and abundance, because those come naturally to the true you, to your higher self. The ego is looking for safety to your being by distracting you from what is going on emotionally inside of yourself. This is one type of safety that you've been living by for a long time, that led you into this version of yourself that is not your higher self, that is this limited version that always had to suppress certain parts, certain emotions, certain energy inside of you as to find safety. It was always to find safety. You try to look for the safety of this moment of being here by not tapping into who it is that you are, which of course comes from these programs, beliefs, and so on from our past that made it appear, and by the way, it was not entirely safe to be who it is that we really are through the experiences of our past, but that is not the case anymore. You are so ready to embody who it is that you are now, and because of that, I'm going to show you how to create true safety for your being, so that you naturally don't have to rely on the ego that does these very limiting things, and so that you can be free to step into your higher self. Because you're going to create safety for your being, not through the ego, but through presence. There is an inner child inside of you that is just God reborn into this physical form, having this experience for the first time, as if it was the first time. And this inner child needs to feel safe to experience this reality. Now it is up to you with your awareness to provide that safety for the inner child. Because when the inner child is moving through these emotions, experiencing this reality, you can give the inner child what it always needed through your presence, through your acceptance, through moving into your body. On a day where you perhaps don't feel overly excited about life, there is excitement, joy, abundance, which comes from this space of this. Then you first have to move back to the first step, which is creating true safety for your being, which is through presence. You have to tap into your body, tap into the inner child, and spend time here until the discomfort becomes comfortable. Because I have to point something out here that is just so important to understand. When you're not feeling this excitement, joy, and abundance, then that means that currently you're looking to safety through the ego, because you're not tapped into it, right? And so what you first have to do before you can move into the excitement, joy, and abundance is to create safety through presence and not through the ego. And the safety done through presence is just tapping into the body. Understanding that there is a discomfort that you're not aware of in this moment in the body. Choosing to tune in, sitting with the discomfort. You can even speak to it. As you're speaking to a little child going through something for the first time. Showing with your awareness that you're here to stay. I'm here for you. I got you. I'm staying here. I'm not running away. Focusing my attention and awareness back into an ego program as to find safety for you. No, I'm taking over the job now with my awareness and providing that safety to you by allowing you to feel what you are feeling in this moment. And I'm gonna stay here with you until this discomfort turns into comfort. Until the pressure that I can sense in my body when I am here analyzing and focusing on trying to understand what's going on, because naturally there is something here when this is not your natural state, then you are burying something that needs to come to light. You're tuning into this, you're tapping into this, you're making space for it through presence, and you're sitting there honoring what is going on with the inner child and through the emotional state, that feminine energy. And you spend time there until you realize that, oh, it's actually kind of comfortable to sit here now. Because you made the uncomfortable comfortable. Now you have created safety for the inner child with presence. You chose to do it with your awareness instead of focusing your awareness into the ego as to create a false sense of safety. This is the premises of the entire video. Safety. In order for you to embody your higher self, you must make it safe for the inner child to bring that higher self in. And you are the one who controls how you create that safety, either through the ego or through presence, right? And the presence is going to unlock your excitement, joy, and abundance. That is the first step, okay? So now that you have unlocked excitement, joy, and abundance by making the uncomfortable comfortable through your presence, through staying here, through showing up for the inner child, for your inner being, you're going to move on to you have the excitement here, right? And now with this excitement, you naturally want to explore new frequencies and possibilities through perhaps visualization, behavior. You'll realize that if you haven't created safety first, trying to visualize, trying to change your behavior, it's not fun. It feels limiting. You're still trying to hold yourself down because you're still trying to find safety through the ego, which means that you cannot shine, you cannot step out of your comfort zone, you cannot try new things. But naturally, when you're embodying your higher self through this safety and self-acceptance, then it becomes not only possible to visualize, change your behavior, but to be excited. To be in a state of, yes, this is going to be a lot of fun. If this hasn't been feeling like a lot of fun for you, then it is because you're still missing the first element of creating safety through presence. Because when you're tapped into that limitless potential for yourself, things of possibility and new frequencies become something that you're moving towards. You love it, you want to do it. It becomes effortless. It's supposed to be effortless. You effortlessly move in this direction by just feeling excitement, joy, and abundance within yourself, which comes naturally as you have created the safety first, right? Now, as you're starting to visualize the new you start to behave in a different way, you start to embody a new frequency, you start to choose the frequency that you embody. It leads to new inspiration and a method. Sometimes we go straight to the method. We're like, oh, I'm gonna start this business. Oh, I'm gonna do this. Without having the inspiration or the natural gravity towards that thing. And today I'm explaining to you how this natural gravity also is going to come to you. Because it's going to come as a result of the new frequency that you embody through this, which so naturally comes in alignment with this first step, right? And then you have the new frequency, you get new inspiration and a method. Now you start that business. Now you move ahead with this singing thing, or this painting thing, or this, this whatever thing that so naturally starts to become known to you as you start being this person of this new being, this new version of you, this higher self of you. You start to get the inspiration, you start to know what to do. And it started to come also by this choice here, right? You have to make a choice to explore new frequencies and possibilities. Sometimes we get a little bit caught up here because we're still a little bit afraid to make that choice. Because once you tap into here, you're in full connection to source, to your emotions. You still had to get the masculine side of things involved, that masculine side of taking action, choosing a direction for your awareness, right? So give yourself the permission to start exploring new frequencies and possibilities, right? This is part of self-mastery. This is part of embodying your higher self, owning both the form and the formless. New inspiration and method. And here comes the important part. When you move into the new method, the new you, you're moving outside of the comfort zone, right? You're moving into this new method of doing things. Perhaps you're starting a YouTube channel. You're starting to be a new you. You start to be a lot more loud. Not loud as in like, but like you express yourself. You express yourself more. You do new things. You're doing things that wasn't part of the old you. You go outside the comfort zone. What happens when you're outside the comfort zone? Higher needs for safety. This is where everything comes full circle. This is a circle of your higher self. You're always going to be elevating in frequency, and as a result of that, have a higher need for safety. And this is usually where we get lost, right? Because I'm sure that you've tapped into this many times in your past. And then you find yourself here, and then when the higher need for safety arrives, you might catch yourself unconsciously choosing back into the ego safety. You start to look through validation with what it is that you're doing. There's new parts awakening inside of you. New parts for the inner child to experience, for you to go through. And then, as this gets a little bit perhaps overwhelming with this experience, everything is new. Everything is something that it wasn't before. It's very easy to find ourselves slipping back into trying to find safety through the ego. And that moment that you move into just looking for that validation again, through this new need for that safety that truly starts to become apparent as you get outside of the comfort zone, what you have to do here is to remain conscious and still move into presence. What we do here a lot of the times is we forget how we even tapped into this place, right? We don't understand that we first created this safety for our being through presence. And then we fall back into the ego, and then we're not feeling safe, and then we keep focusing on like, I'm not excited, joy, abundance, like I'm trying to explore new frequencies, possibilities, I'm trying to manifest, visualize, it's not working. I'm trying to figure out the method to, making this happen, but it's like nothing is coming to me, what's wrong? And then, there's no new you anymore, you're just back here, looking to safety in the ego, in unconscious ways that perhaps you don't even understand in this moment, right? So how do you know that you're aligned with this and not aligned with this? Well, it all comes down to a very basic, simple thing. If you're not feeling excitement, joy, abundance, just naturally from the being of where it is that you are right now, then you're not tapped into your natural state. And you need to create safety for your being through presence first, before you can move ahead with anything of these other steps. This is the blueprint to move into your higher self. This is how your higher self operates effortlessly. Once you have learned how to move into this state of presence and made it just a natural habit to choose this over this, because you always have a choice, right? You always have a choice. You start to recognize when you choose ego safety and make the new choice, right? Maybe as it is for me, sometimes very often actually, something I struggle a lot with, I'll make YouTube videos and then I feel triggered because I'm expressing my new self. I'm always pushing the boundaries of my YouTube channel, showing more of who I am. And it's very triggering for me. In a lot of cases, I look at the metrics as if, if there's a lot of people watching, that's gonna give me validation. And then when it's not doing that well, the video, for example, then I find myself like, oh, I can't do this. Because I fell back into the ego and looking for safety through the ego, when in reality I should have recognized that I was looking towards the metrics and not look at the metrics, and instead move into presence, feeling the discomfort, experiencing the discomfort, recognizing that all of this was beautifully executed on. You made it outside the comfort zone. Now you're hired. You need to have a higher need for safety, and you need to work a lot with your presence. You can do some tapping. It's something that I've done a lot. Tapping is a great way for the body to awaken and show you what it is that is trying to come through, right? So tapping is a great tip, but you can also find a million different ways of moving back into your body, something that is good for you, what you resonate with. Realize where it is that when you step outside of the comfort zone, you made it all the way here, and this is now starting to increase. Where is it that you usually start to move into choosing ego safety, and now make the new choice to move into presence instead, and experience the discomfort, sit with it, make it known to you, experience it. And then as soon as this is done, boom, back in excitement, joy, abundance, ready to keep on elevating, growing, like your higher self so effortlessly does. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.